If you are hypermobile and exercise is painful for you, there's some simple things that you can do right away to decrease pain while you're exercising so you can get only the benefits out of exercise. And that's what we're going to go over today in this video. I'm going to use the bridge exercise as an example to illustrate some concepts, some things that we see people doing wrong all the time in physical therapy. So I'm going to use that as an example, but then you can apply these principles to several other exercises, whatever you're doing through your exercise program. Okay, so the first compensation that we see people do is they're trying too hard, and I'm going to demonstrate what that looks like now. All right, so here's the first example, and what I mean when I say you're trying too hard, it can be either effort or range of motion. So effort could be that we're just really trying to squeeze hard to get up into our bridge, and look at what that's done. It's created a lot of arch in my low back, and then when I come down, which can not be great because then you're going to tend to tense up a lot of muscles. It can also just be that you're going too far into the movement. So within hypermobility, we don't want to be like way up here, right? We want to go to 50 to 75% of our range of motion, where I have like a straight line from my knee all the way up to my shoulder. And then we can come back down out of that. So that's the first thing, is we got to pull back the effort a little bit, because when we're trying as hard as we can, we tend to tense muscles, and then we don't get the desired result, and we just end up with spasms, and we have this recurring pattern. So it doesn't matter if it's the bridge exercise. You could be doing any exercise. You could be doing clamshells on your back, where you put the band around your thighs, whatever it is that your therapist has prescribed to you and you're pushing out. If we're pushing as hard as we can, pushing out into that band around your thighs, then maybe we'll use some glutes, but you might also fire up all your hip flexors and many other muscles because you're trying so hard and you're sending signals to your body that this is dangerous, or maybe not dangerous, but you have to have a lot more effort than you really require. So what is your body going to do? It's going to use a lot more muscles than it needs to, and you're not going to get the desired result. The second compensation that people do is they're not breathing. They're focusing on just trying to get the task done, and they forget to breathe. And what happens here is then we're focusing on just tightening muscles, and when we don't breathe, then movement doesn't go as well because there's not that flow throughout your body, and then you're just tensing up muscles, which typically leads to spasms. So the second concept is not breathing. So again, when we're really hyper-focused and we're trying really hard, we can tend to hold our breath, which might seem good in the sense that you're going to get more, you're more focused on the effort and the intention, but then we're going to spasm. So make sure when you're breathing into your belly and letting it go. Not all up here. This is another thing that we see with a lot of people with Ehlers-Danlos and Hypermobility Spectrum Disorders. They're using all the muscles in their neck. Breathe down into your belly continuously throughout the entirety of the exercise. And lastly, and this is a big one with hypermobility, and it's not your fault, but you're using the incorrect muscles. Now, what can you do to improve that? I'm going to show you a couple examples right now of how you can improve and be sure that you're using the correct muscles depending on the exercise. If you've addressed the first 2 points, you're not breathing and you're not if you are breathing and you're not overdoing the exercise, the next thing I would check is make sure that you're in what's called a pelvic neutral, and your therapist should be able to help you with that. So if we are lying down, for instance, and we're doing an exercise like the bridge, and we are overarching our spine, that's not a pelvic neutral. Our ribs are flaring. We got a big arch in our low back, and that's not good. Some other people will also totally flatten their back. This was like popular back in the 90s with a lot of like core kind of exercises, but we've found through studies that the best position is somewhere right in between. Now, if you carefully and support your head, you lift and you look at your pubic bones, they should be flat, and your rib cage should be relatively flat, and you should be able to stick like a single hand under your low back without it feeling crushed or pulling your back pulling way away from it. That gives you a pretty good idea if you're in pelvic neutral. Now, let's say you do all those things and it still doesn't work and you're still not feeling it. Then what you can do is start to try and use props. So for instance, we can use blocks to help you, give you some proprioception. You can also use, like on this exercise, you could use a belt, push out into that belt, gently, and then come up into your bridge that way. That way, when you go to do your exercise, you're giving your body some more feedback. You're pushing out into something. You can use walls, you can use yoga blocks, you can use belts. There are many different props that you can use to give your body some external feedback. If you're looking for additional opportunities to work with us, or maybe things just aren't working out with your local physical therapist, there are opportunities to work with us directly. You can check out our website at Healthy Consumer PT. We do have several different remote options for anyone in the United States. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and share it with someone that you think might be valuable. We look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.